Um, so hello everyone. We are group 5 and I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope my voice was audible. So it's currently, as I see, 8:27 a.m. morning in Delhi. And the last time I checked, the air quality in Delhi was poor, which is way better than it has been in the past few months. So what our topic is to address the problem of air pollution in Delhi. And we are looking as a solution for it, e-cycle. So I'll hand over to Lea to present the next slides.
Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then please go to the next slide. So the background of our project is that air pollution is really high in India. You can see in this upper right corner map that India's air pollution is, compared to the other countries, is much higher. And especially in Delhi, as already Shreya mentioned before, air pollution is really strong compared to other cities worldwide. Because of that, as the previous group, we also decided to tackle air pollution in India as our project. Please go to the next slide. So most of the air pollution is the result of the large traffic use of cars and other transport which emit carbon dioxide, as you can see in this table. And the ratio of cars just increased over the years from 1971 until 2001, as you can see in the lower plot. So please go to the next slide. So why does so many people use the cars? For one reason, it's more safer than walking or cycling, not just in Delhi, but worldwide. As you can see in this plot, the mortality of traffic accidents are sometimes high, sometimes a bit lower in Delhi, I mean in India, but compared to the neighboring countries, it's still much higher. The last time I checked in 2019, it was around 17 or 19, when for example in Japan, the number is only 3 persons per 100,000 people in the population to die from traffic accidents. So many people are reluctant to use bicycles because they are afraid that they're going to be hit and injured. And this is not just the bicyclist problem, it is basically a transport culture problem, that the car drivers or the bus drivers don't pay attention to the bikers. And also the efficient infrastructure is missing, like bike lanes or separate bicycle lanes. It's just not safe to use the bicycles. And the next reason is, if you can go to the next slide, is the cultural norms. Also in the previous group, it was mentioned the different ratio of the male and females using the bicycles. And this study was done in the UK, so not in India, but UK and other European Union countries are actually using much more bicycles than India. So it's a good indicator what would happen if India would also use bicycles. So as you can see, much more males use bicycles in every age group. And in India, public safety are worse than in England or in the European Union countries. So maybe even more female bikers decide not to use bicycle if they feel that getting to work is unsafe. They might be kidnapped, they might be injured, or who knows. So these should be also addressed by providing secure bicycle options and to increase the people's safety on the roads. The next slide, please. And safety not just when they are actually cycling, but also safety when they park their bicycles. In the majority of countries, it's much more accepted to have cars parked at the side of the road. But if somebody sees a bicycle parking at the side of the road, they're forced to see it as trash. It's not belongs to the street. Even in Japan, in my city Sapporo, the bicycle parkings are decreased the options in the inner city because people just don't want to see the parked bicycles on the side road. And many people are reluctant to use bicycles if they cannot park the bicycles safely, either with free options or paid options. So if you have to park the bicycle like 1 kilometer away from your workplace, you're not going to use the bicycle. It's just a lot of time to walk from the parking location to your work. And not just parking, but other factors are also important, as you can see in this spider web. So the directness of the bicycle lanes, the road safety, the comfort of using the bicycle. People are very choosy when it comes to switch from cars to bicycles. So all of this have to be improved to decrease car use in Delhi. And because of this, the key aims and goals of our project are, comes the next slide, to decrease India's emissions by 2030. It was also mentioned by the previous group by 45% compared to the baseline target. And from this point would consequently follows that Delhi's air pollution would also decrease. And we want to reach this by having more cyclists and less cars on the road. And with this, I would like to pass the mic to Aurelia.
All right, thank you, Lea. So we will move to the implementer's role. We have 7 stakeholders here. So the first is government. For the government, they will support to set up biking station near metro for better public to private transition. And also they have role to make incentive of bike service via metro cards. And the second role, for the social implementation, the NGO will support to help the government to persuade and also give socializations for civil society. And we will have the startups as the third stakeholder. They will make its best in e-bike design products with high degree of safety and also collaborate with private sectors to decide the rewards or product discounts. And also the private sector, they will have a role to invest, to have the investment to create heavy network of biking stations and also to create rewards or discounts for its products. So people who join the e-bike community, we will have the discounts of its products. And also the researcher's role also will be important. So they will have tasks to do more research and development of the battery quality for the bicycle. And for the marketing strategy, I think we think we have decided to the e-cycle community or maybe actors and also influencers to persuade and influence people for using the electronic bicycle. And for the last but not least is citizens that will use the electronic bicycle in the daily life. Next slide, please, Shreya. So for the timeline, we will start in 2023, starting with talking with the governments, talking to the government to gain policy attention about the e-cycle, also simultaneously introduce the ideas to the other stakeholders, such as startups, researchers, and NGOs. And in 2024, we will also do the policy consultation with all the stakeholders involved. Also, the government shall make the rules about the e-cycle, and the private sector must support its rules. And in 2025, we will have 2 steps, which is government must finalize the e-cycle rules and startups shall release the e-cycle products. And also the NGO must support the government rules to give socializations about using the e-cycle, while private sectors also shall help with investment and make collaboration on rewards or discounts. And for the trial pilot projects, we will have 2024 to 2027 to segregate all the stakeholders involved for using the e-cycle system. So the influencers part and also the e-cycle community will persuade and implement this in daily life. The next slide, please, Shreya. So in general, we will have 6 steps that will starting by conducting a primary survey first. And after that, we will have the result to identify priority areas and also the result to demand assessment and also stakeholder analysis. And after that, we can have the budget, project cost, and also financial viability And after that, we can market it and request to for the proposal to the municipal corporation. For the implementation, next we will move back to Shreya.
Okay, so now that we have learned about what's the problem and what possible timeline in which we can get the solution, let's look into the implementation strategies with outputs and outcomes. So our first strategy is a PPP, which is public-private partnership-based model to introduce e-cycle facility as a last-mile connectivity. So what we want is when people exit the metro stations, they find a docking station with the e-cycle in it. So the output would be that e-cycle next to the metro station in renting format. And the outcome for it would be that it will provide a better last-mile connectivity, which is more affordable and clean energy. Our next strategy is to persuade people to use cycle rather than drive own vehicles. This can be done via marketing, and as mentioned by Aurelia, it can also be done by bringing in influencers. So the output would be better public health, and the outcome would be overall increase in the lifespan and well-being. And it also solves the SDG 3, which is good health and well-being. Then our next strategy is setting up a city-wide e-bike rental system and then making it low cost. So higher network of docking station would promote people to use. So if a person can take a cycle from one station and put the cycle in other station, then it will be easier for them to accept it. And obviously the affordable prices of electric bikes will give it preference over the other mode of transport. So the outcome of this would be increased saving on travel and open door to other livelihood options. Now that I mentioned here livelihood options, so in India there is delivery services that happen via two-wheelers. So if we make bikes that are lower cost, so people who are unemployed for a specific period of time might gain opportunity to use these cycles to deliver, and thus also increasing their employment. Then other strategy is to incentivize people to not use automobile. So output of this is setting higher tax for fossil fuel vehicles and companies, and the outcome of this is decreased air pollution, and also this is affordable and clean energy. Our next strategy is to engage central government, local bodies, state governments to implement e-cycle friendly policies. So in India, we have this new policy that has come up, which is faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicles. So the output we are expecting from this is we are involving businesses to manufacture more, and we are wanting the public to adopt this new behavior. And the outcome of this is more e-cycle to meet the demand created by the awareness campaign. And it also solves the SDG 11, which is sustainable cities and communities. Our next strategy is refurbishing roads to have separate or painted bike lanes. Like it has been talked about in the previous PPTs as well, that we have to use the current infrastructure. So output would be the more bicycle lanes, increased safety without much monetary investment, and the outcomes would be making road more bike friendly. So next, let's discuss the expected challenges, risks, and mitigation measures. We have unpopularity of cycle as a mode of transportation. That is mainly because of the roads in India. There is high monopoly of cars and buses on roads, and the roads are not for the people. So there is more bullying of cyclists, and there is lack of road safety, and hit and run incidents are common. So to solve this, we can have awareness campaigns. India has launched Cycles for Change Challenge, which also promotes cycling in India. And we talked about in the conferences about design. So maybe we can have better design for the docking station as a mitigation or easier adoption. Then there is problem of theft. Cycles do not come with number plate, so it is easier to steal. And there is no such thing as bicycle insurance in India. So the solution to it might be ITS, which is Intelligent Transportation System, in which we use bicycle and we place the tracking system in it. So it will prevent theft and chances of vandalism. And also we can introduce staff near these docking stations, which could include bicycle monitoring officers, transaction monitoring officers, account officers, and control center supervisory managers. And these people can help in maintaining these areas. The third is weather and infrastructure. The weather makes it difficult for people to use cycles in Delhi. So, and the infrastructure also does not support cycles. So what we are looking for is better infrastructure. And for that, we can take the emissions, like the smart city missions that the government is being putting in place, and so develop infrastructure in that way. And usually for shorter distance, people use these cycles. So maybe it will not be the biggest challenge. And the key to adoption would be cheaper rates for renting the bicycles. And maybe we can also promote innovation in bike design for easier management during such harsh weather conditions. Then fourth challenge is auto and cab drivers. So currently the last mile connectivity is handled by auto and cab drivers. And if we bring in bicycles, it might, harm the livelihood of these people. So, but the aim of our policy and project is to bring in people who use private vehicles for commute into using public transport. So it is for those people who find cars affordable, and therefore they can find the e-cycles that initially would be a little costlier than normal cycles. So it is a different target audience that we are looking for. And fifth is the engagement of city governments. So the challenge is the urban local bodies have a financial constraint. So projects like these require a high initial investment. So our mitigation is PPP model and issuing of local body bonds. Our method of monitoring plans with indicators is doing annual year meeting and evaluation with all stakeholders involved. We want to create a survey to evaluate the trial of e-cycling in 3 years in early period and make sure key stakeholders are kept in mind. And to assess, we are bringing in impact assessment, data on increased usage of public transportation, air quality impact pre and post this program implementation, measure the safety of cycle on roads on early basis, and conduct design tests on e-bicycles. So in the end, I would like to summarize our presentation by saying that we have learned a lot about net zero, and sometimes these big projects might seem unachievable. So what we can do at these times when we are facing these problems is look into this mantra. When in doubt, just pedal it out. Thank you.